Good morning, guys. It is a cold morning here. Really cold, like 36. So it's really cold for me. I know it's all relative. You know, people in Wisconsin right now are probably going, that's like a spring day with shorts on. But you know what? People in Siberia could say the same for you. So if you're watching from Siberia, okay, you have some room to talk. You win. The last 2 nights we've had frost warnings, which is very rare. So Emily and I came out and covered up all of the Monstera deliciosas. Out of all the tropicals we grow, those are the most frost tender. So let's take a look under and see how we did. Looking good. I'm not super surprised because even though there was a frost warning, we had zero frost here. I walked around after I got back from taking Noah to school, and there wasn't one speck of frost anywhere. But it's weird because all the way to school, there was tons of frost. At his school, there was enough frost on the lawn where you could pick it up and make like a little ball out of it. So we really must be in a little frost-free pocket here because there's never any frost. I mean, there's tiny little bits here and there every once in a while, but here that we had an actual frost warning and there wasn't any, you know what I'm saying? We look good for tropicals here. So let's head up and give the girls their breakfast, and then I'll show you what we've been up to on the coop, and we'll get started finishing up things today, I hope. Every time I have to walk past this thatching and I'm not able to put it up, I die a little more inside. Okay, I'm not gonna make you wait until we feed the chickens to show you what we've done. I know in the last video I said by the end of the next video we'll have all of this complete. The stucco, I think I even said the final coat of stucco. Did I say that? I'm nuts. Must have been crazy. But we're not too far off because I do think by the end of this video we'll be ready for the final coat. Are you ready to see what I've done? I'm really, really happy with this woodwork. Oh, you can't see it like this. Maybe. So first of all, I was able to do the arched doorway. I know a few of you said to hire it done. I was able to do it. So this is how I did it. This is just one of those resin, or whatever it's made out of, bender board. And I just cut it to length and I screwed it in to the frame. And then I shimmed it and then screwed those in. So now we have a pretty perfectly arched doorway. And then back outside, I had the framing done and I had these here, but the top looked really blank. And so I added this woodwork up top. I also added in the eaves, this was just like, you know, a couple of 2x4s throughout here before. So I was able to cover those up with wood just to give it a more finished look. Now, the thatch is actually going to come around this. So it will cover the edge and wrap underneath. So you won't see all of this, you know, the two sides of wood with the 2x4 up the middle. Over here to the left of the door, I kind of made a bit of a curve on this one just to give it some kind of interest. And then to the right of the door, that. And then over here. Now my original plan was to have brickwork on the chimney, which is still the plan, and then also under the window. But when you step back and look at the entire cottage, there's not a lot of like stucco area that's going to be exposed that's not made into brick. And so I think having the chimney and this brick is going to be overkill on the brick. So we're just going to go with the stucco there in that area. And I may figure out some woodwork in there to just give it some interest. Now, one of the parts that had been concerning me was the dormer. And when I built this dormer, I really kind of just did it by the seat of my pants, kind of like everything I do. But I wasn't happy with the outcome. I didn't think it showed well. I didn't think it was going to stucco well. I didn't think that the thatch would be able to wrap around well because there was just different. It's hard to explain, but I just didn't like the look of it. So I kind of started thinking about things, and I made these little wings to put on the side, which look crazy right now, but the stucco will kind of make them look a little bit more permanent. But let me just show you, putting these up made all the difference in the world. So that will all be stucco with a little bit of framing around the window. I also put the eaves in just like I did over the door and just like I did over this window here. I know you're ready to eat, but these guys are keeping me from it. Yesterday we also went to Briggs Nursery, which is the drive-through nursery that I tried to go to before and it had already closed. So of course I took the camera along to show you guys what it looked like. Can I have my other bowl, please? I'm sorry. So I thought I addressed this in a previous video, but I had several questions on it, so maybe I hadn't. About the back wall of this coop, or this cottage, being open. And if it was going to stay that way, and why? The answer is yes, it's going to stay that way. My goal is to have these trumpet vines take over this chain link fence so we can get this black, whatever that is, off of it and just have a nice green background. And the reason is because I really wanted good ventilation in here. You know, with chickens and rabbits, might get a little stinky. And so having good ventilation would be very important for that. So leaving the entire back open is going to help with that. Also, here in Southern California, we don't have to worry, as cold as it feels right now, to me, chickens are fine, rabbits are fine. The biggest concern with chickens and rabbits is summer heat. And here it can get fairly hot. So having this open is going to make a world of difference in the heat of the summer. And in the winter, they're not fazed by it at all. Okay, so I promised I'd take you along to that drive-through nursery, so I'm going to just insert some footage right here that we took when we went there, and then I'll show you what we came home with. So we are headed to the drive-through nursery that I told you about a few weeks ago to look around. We're not ready to buy trees, but we wanted to look around a little bit, so I thought I would take you with us. So we'll be there in a bit. Okay, so we're here. Let me show you around. So they've got like the regular nursery type area. Lots of annuals and perennials and vegetables. So Briggs is where I got all those trumpet vines that are going to hopefully take over the back of the cottage. Briggs is also where I'm going to be getting all of my trees, including all the tropical trees and the trees that are going to go up in the Cottage area. They have a really good price for trees. I mean, cheaper than anywhere I've seen, and they will deliver it for a fee. But it's, I forget what it costs, but it's, to me it seemed reasonable for an entire truckload of trees. But this time I was really there just for some herbs for the cottage garden containers. So let me show you what I got. I ended up getting this sage and this sage. So this is a tricolor sage. This is a purple sage, obvious reasons. And then I got some mint, a couple different kinds of mint. This is chocolate mint, and this is peppermint. Oh, they smell so good. And I got this, well, mainly because I liked it, so I will figure out a place for it. I also think that it's going to be one of those that propagates from cuttings really easily. And so this would be really cool spilling out of containers. It's called Helichrysum Lemon Licorice. I also got this Plectranthus. Plectranthus is one of those that really grows or is propagated very easily from cuttings. I love the leaf color. Look on the back. I'm thinking this might be a good filler in the tropical garden. It's one of those plants that's not necessarily tropical, but it definitely gives that tropical vibe. And I got this pink Achillea here. It's a perennial, and that's going to go up in the cottage garden. I got 2 artichokes, which actually there's 3 in each one, so bonus for me. So I got 6 artichokes. And then these 3 lavenders here. And I'll tell you why I got these. Before moving here, I had never seen this variety of lavender, and then all of a sudden outside of our bedroom door, we had this blooming. And it has the deepest blue-purple lavender blooms I've ever seen on a lavender. It's got a great shape with a little pruning, and it's got green leaves, which I think would look great in the cottage garden. Now, most lavender, or I should say a lot of lavender, has the silvery type of leaves, right? We've got 2 different kinds here, which do really well or look really good in a Mediterranean garden like this one is. It's our Mediterranean herb garden, which I just have to show you. All of these, look at this lemon thyme, everything's spreading out. Minus, don't worry about the weeds, I'll be taking care of those. German thyme, more lemon thyme, parsley, that right there is oregano, and I've got lavender, and I've got rosemary back there, and some sage, a couple plants of sage. So what I found out is that this gets a lot of sun, but only to this point where this lavender is. Like right now it's morning, so it's shady, but the rest of the day is full sun, except for by the house. That's the last to get sun in the day, and so nothing is quite growing back there next to the house. And so I'm gonna have to figure out something for against that wall to be a backdrop for these herbs, because Mediterranean herbs are not gonna grow in that much shade. Okay, so I got really off track there. I bought these because this is the same one as the one that came with our house. And I had never seen them at any other garden center. So I looked at the tag to see what the name was, and it said Lavender California. And that's all it said. Now, when I use Latin names for plants on the gardening channel, on Next Level Gardening, I get people who get annoyed by that. And I want to tell you why that's so important, because I had to do some research to find out what this was called, because I wanted to know what the variety was. So it says Lavender California. So I looked that up on Google, right? And it came up with all of the varieties of lavender that do well in California. And guess what? That's all of them. So I scrolled and scrolled and scrolled, could not find it. So I got out my plant app, took a picture of the flower, and it told me that that was Lavender multifida, or Lavandula multifida. Fern leaf lavender, or California lavender. I think it had like 5 other names for it. That's why Latin names are important, because there could be common names. There could be 10 common names for this one plant. Or there could be 10 plants with the same common name and they're all different plants. So looking up Lavandula multifida, I found out it was fern leaf lavender. All the description was correct. The leaves, how each head has 3 spikes of flowers. However, in looking a little bit further, I found out that Lavandula multifida has silver leaves. And what I loved about this one was that it had green leaves and would look good in the cottage garden, like I said. So I found out that there was another fern leaf lavender called Lavandula minutolii. That is a green leafed version. So that is why I prefer using the Latin name whenever possible, because it just makes it easier for you guys to find the exact plant that you're seeing on the screen. It doesn't mean I prefer pronouncing the Latin names. And I just noticed that all my crocuses are coming up. I've been wondering where they are, and now they're finally popping through. Speaking of crocus, I am trying saffron for the first time this year. I've got it growing in one of my grassroots fabric pots. I'll leave a link below if you guys want to check them out. I did a video last spring on them, but I don't know how long they will take to bloom. Saffron is basically the stamens of the crocus flower. It is time to go over and finally stucco the chicken run, the cottage wall on the chicken run side, and then also the dormer needs to be done. And after that, I'll be done with the first coat. I'm not gonna really show you the stucco process on this. I think you've seen more than enough of that. But what we will do before the end of this video is let that dry, and then probably tomorrow get the woodwork done. I'll show you how I did that. So it's the next day and we had another frosty night. Not here, not here. By the way, look at these amaryllis, the ones I had for inside for Christmas. I brought them outside, cut them off, the dead ones, and they're already putting out, this one's got leaves and another bud. And this one didn't do anything, so I removed the wax and I'll be planting it. Anyway, it's a good thing we didn't have frost last night, because the wind blew all of the row covers off of the Monstera anyway. But everything's looking good, looking green, no frost damage whatsoever. So I did keep my goal yesterday of finishing the stucco on the side wall of the cottage in the chicken run. You can see it's all stuccoed all the way to the tippy top. I need to put the eaves on over here to match that side, so that hasn't been done yet. And the chickens are all locked in here for the day. I have the door closed to get outside because I didn't want them pecking at the uncured stucco. Probably not good for them, and there's some I spilled on the ground around too, and I just wanted to keep them in here for the day for that. Plus, today we're gonna work on the woodwork for that side. So let's get busy. The reason that I'm cutting the wood this way with a jigsaw rather than a bandsaw or a circular saw, I don't have a bandsaw, but I don't want straight lines. And the reason is all the cottages that I've looked at in England don't have straight lines. All of the wood like this have these wonky, just wavy lines, very rustic. You know, they're probably made out of tree limbs, and so whichever way the tree bent, you know, they didn't have mills, I'm guessing, back then. So even though it would be faster to just zip it through a saw to get a straight line, that's not what I'm after. so it's the next morning. I actually ran out of space on the camera, and so that kind of got cut short on that one, and it's okay because I actually ran out of wood shortly after that. All right, so there's what I got done. Basically the whole lower portion of the wall. I just need to do this peak area. Went and got the wood last night, so I'll be tackling that today. I'm also realizing that there's a wall right there and one to be put in right there that's going to need to be wired and stuccoed, as well as the top of the chimney. It's like above my sight line, so I forget that I still have to do that. So that's all going to be taken care of before the next video. Also, I had a few people ask why I didn't paint the wood before I put it on. And the main reason for that is because I thought maybe putting the stucco on after that was going to mess up the paint job, which it probably will a little. However, I'm a little concerned about protecting the edges of these pieces of wood. Even though they're going to be kind of covered up with the stucco, water will still be able to get in. So I think what I might do is go ahead and do a base coat on the woodwork and then put the stucco in between and then do a final coat on whatever is now still showing. But that's going to be for the next video, and I'll probably just do this wall just like I did before as a trial run, get the paint on there, then get the stucco, the final coat of stucco, which I purchased last night when I went and got the extra wood. So that's going to be on the next video. We'll keep moving right ahead until it's finally roofing day. I'll see you next time.